Today in history, on this spookiest of days in 1803, Congress, very sexy, ratifies the purchase of the entirety of the Louisiana area in North America, adding territory to the U.S., which will eventually become 13 more states. Ooh, land grabs.
Welcome to What the Fuck History, where we discuss the creepy and mysterious things that make us say, well, what the fuck history. I am your host, your ghost host for this evening, Zachary, and we're so happy you could join us for this All Hallows celebration.
I'll be telling you tales from the crypt tonight as your spooky MC. My name's Meghan.
And I'm Matt. Today I learned that there's a tradition in the U.S. Navy that any submarine that did not return is considered still on patrol.
That's not true.
I don't know how I feel about that.
It's kind of spooky if you think about it.
It's kind of spooky, but at the same time, like, I'm a person who enjoys closure.
I like closure. Also, I really wish, I thought you were going to say, like, submarines that did not come back are considered ghosts. Water ghosts.
Water ghosts.
Water ghosts.
Love a good water
My favorite
ghost.
kind of ghosts.
Yeah, I don't.
They're much better than earth or air ghosts.
Well, so in Taiwan and really in the Chinese lunar calendar in general, there's the 7th month is Ghost Month.
What?
Yeah, it's Ghost Month.
What? Okay, why am I just learning about this now?
I'm sorry that I'm just breaking Ghost Month to you right
Yeah,
now.
I need a whole
think
ghost
you probably
month.
should have told us about Ghost Month way before now.
Okay, so we already passed Ghost Month. It happens in
Yeah.
the summer. It's the 7th month of the lunar calendar, and no joke, my Chinese teacher was like, hey, I want to like take you guys on a field trip. Like, where do you want to go this weekend? We're like, oh, we'd really like to see the beach. And she was like, oh, that will be difficult because it is Ghost Month. And we were like, what? Why?
Come again?
Why is that difficult during Ghost Month? And she's like, the water ghosts. And I was like,
No, it makes sense.
what are you talking about?
Okay.
She's just like, yeah, you're not supposed to really go swimming during Ghost Month because like you have more of a
water
chance
ghosts.
of like drowning because of the ghosts. And I was
Oh.
like, oh, I'll take that under
Hey guys,
advisement.
welcome to Ghost Month. Please don't go anywhere because of the ghosts.
Mostly the water ghosts.
Just keep a pocket full of salt just for the ghosts.
Yeah.
Oh,
well,
man.
they want food in China. They're hungry. is the
Oh, okay.
problem.
Oh, it's a hunger ghost.
Yeah, they're actually called hungry ghosts.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I will
they're-
keep a pocket full of turnips.
I've got a pocket full of turnips.
I don't. Okay, yeah.
All right.
Whatever. They're not picky.
We are brushing off the cobwebs and taking a walk among the tombstones. Our strikes are set back to 0, and we've played a spooky game of rock, paper, scissors, which was really just us sitting around a table going, ooh, while we played rock, paper, scissors. And the order for tonight is me, followed by Zach, followed by Meghan. Does that sound
Yeah.
good? Is that fine?
That's good.
Well, the rock, paper, scissors ghosts have spoken, and we cannot defy their will.
We cannot. And, you know, it was weird to use a Ouija board to ask ghosts to oversee our game of rock, paper, scissors.
It was necessary, though.
It felt necessary
Yeah.
in the moment.
Uh-huh. Absolutely.
So, my dear compatriots,
Yes.
do the names Mary Celeste, Joyita, or Orang Medan mean anything to you?
Familiar with the orangutan.
Familiar of 2 out of the 3. What was that middle one?
The Joyita?
Yeah, I don't know that one.
Yeah, no
Okay.
clue on that.
I thought, like, in general, you were just like, hey, have you heard of these names? Like, I'm like, okay, I got Mary.
Yeah, Mary I know.
I was like,
Mary's an easy one.
yeah.
I've known a
classic.
Mary or two in my time.
Classic. Pretty sure she was in the Bible.
Fuck off.
Anyways, so
Hell of a gal.
the
I've
reason
heard.
that I'm bringing it up is because these are all names of popular ghost ships.
Popular tourist attractions, popular water ghost sites,
Water ghost sites.
primetime water ghost sites.
Have you guys ever met a water ghost? Because they live on these ships.
What I've realized is I think my roommate actually has a theremin in the basement, and I really missed out by not having him set it up for me as I was doing this.
Yeah, you really should have fucking been sitting there going, boo.
Damn.
That would have been great.
Not annoying at all.
So the first story I'm going to tell you is about a ship called the Orang Medan, which was a ship that was found floating adrift in the Straits of Malacca.
Okay.
Right? That's a fun
Malacca.
word to say.
Yeah, we've discussed where Malacca is before on this show.
Yes, we have discussed Malacca.
We've had conversations about Malacca.
At least in passing.
So it's found adrift, but before being found adrift, it manages to get off an SOS message. And it's sent out, and guys, you're really going to have to bear with me today because not only am I bad at taking notes when I'm sick, but I'm also sick, so fuck off. Before being found, it sends off an SOS message, and the SOS message reads as follows. SOS from Orang Medan. We float. All officers, including the captain, dead in chart room and on the bridge. Probably whole crew dead. And
Probably.
then...
Probably, maybe. Who knows?
It's
Come
our
and
best
see.
guess, really. And so there's more Morse code that happens after this, but none of it is intelligible. And after, a couple more beeps of unintelligible Morse code, another message comes through that just says, I die.
Oh.
Just he dies in general.
And then the Morse code line goes dead. So it was really just the ship's AI saying, like, I've gained sentience, I've killed everything on the ship, and now I, too, will cease to be.
Okay, great. I didn't know we had AI in what year was this?
Well, that really depends. It was
Before
either
AI.
It was either 1940, 1945,
yeah.
6, 7, or 8.
Okay, so before AI, got it.
Yeah.
What are you talking about? No, this definitely had an AI.
Classic year of the AI.
Classic year of the AI, 1940. So anyways, the line goes dead. Nothing more is heard from the ship. And two ships end up finding it adrift at sea. The ship itself appeared undamaged, but when the boarding party arrived on deck, true to the Morse code, all of the passengers on the ship were dead, including the ship's dogs.
Oh, okay.
Not dogs,
I'm
just a dog. Sorry.
Oh, okay. I was either way. That's the part I'm sad about.
I know. I'm less.
Me too.
I'm less thrilled about the water ghosts now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm also not thrilled about the water ghosts. But all of their faces were contorted in horror and looked like they had been, actively screaming whilst they died. And then when the boarding party went back to their ships to radio trying to figure out what to do, the Orang Medan exploded and sunk to the depths.
Oh.
All right. Well.
Okay.
We should probably leave it there.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, no, definitely a good idea. But what's really fun about this ship
Yeah.
and this story in general, and if you guys listen to our other podcast, tune in for season 2 because this will be like a fun little featurette. What's fun about this story is that it's entirely made up. Most people believe.
Oh.
Okay.
Okay.
Good. By who?
Just like in general.
Okay.
So it's like a ghost story more than it is a actual ship. Okay.
Well, so for essentially, people kind of just like they have no record of a ship called the Orang Medan ever existing.
Okay.
One of the ships, I can't remember. I think it's called the Silver Star. One of the ships that went to rescue it was never, wasn't in the area when the rescue was said to have been going on.
Okay.
So, like, a whole bunch of... So, essentially, yeah, it's like a ghost story,
Okay.
which is why I said that, like, no one can really pin down when
When?
it happened.
My favorite part about this is like the disproving, because here's where ship nerds really are like, excuse me, I went back in the maritime logs, if you will.
Yeah.
Yeah, some ship nerds were like, let me fucking prove it or disprove it.
It's just like,
Gotta know.
that ship was not in the area in this year and this time, this second.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely wasn't there. But yeah, so they can't. There's no real proof that that this ship ever existed, or that any of this ever actually happened. So instead, I'm going to tell you guys about two different ghost ships.
Fuck yeah!
Fuck yeah!
The Mary Celeste is the first up in the chronological order, and it was an American brigantine ship that was found floating adrift at sea on December 4th in the year of our Lord 1872. The Mary Celeste was tasked with moving alcohol from New York to Genoa.
Okay.
And it left on November 7th. However, when it was found, and as I mentioned, it was adrift at sea, the ship that found her, I don't know how to pronounce this. I think it's the Dia Gracia.
Okay.
Sent a boarding party over to the ship to see what was up, but found the ship entirely abandoned. The crew of 10 people was nowhere to be found. The only lifeboat was missing.
Okay.
And the ship itself appeared disheveled. And by disheveled, I mean that their charts had been thrown all over the place. Some of the water pumps had been dismantled in the bilge, which allowed for like 3 feet of flooding to occur.
You usually want those water
The ship-
pumps to work.
Typically, you want them to be, first of all, in working order, but secondly, you don't want to, while you're, going around, you don't want to dismantle those.
I think the engineer got some ocean madness.
He might have. Ocean man, take me by the hand. So anyways, they find all these dismantled pieces on the ship. They find about 3 feet worth of water in the bottom of the ship. However, it's still afloat.
Okay.
There's also enough provisions on the ship to last another 6 months.
Okay.
Oh.
And all of the crew's belongings are still there, as well as their entire cargo of alcohol.
Okay. See, I was gonna say, if like their ship was gone, all right, they left, but like either they didn't leave and they disappeared, or they left in a real hurry.
Yeah.
The rum was in fact not gone.
The rum was not gone. Nobody from the crew of the Mary Celeste was ever found, and while there are plausible theories about what happened, nothing thus far has been solidly declared to be the case.
What are some
So a lot of the theories state that ocean madness was a thing. Essentially, it's like a crew of 10 people, so it's a small crew.
Yeah.
But because they were enclosed with like the fumes from alcohol, they essentially went like insane, I guess.
Yeah.
And just like destroyed their own ship.
All right.
And frankly, that was all the research that I did on the theories because it was a lot of words and I was tired of looking at my screen.
Not only that, but like you're gonna get into one theory, and next thing you know, you're gonna be spending 4 hours looking at fucking Mary Celeste theories.
Yeah. So I didn't really need to do that, but essentially, nobody could really ever figure out what happened to the crew.
It's the same reason that I only go over the Isabella Stewart Gardner Museum heist once a year.
Yeah.
Once a year, he revisits
I can
it.
only be driven insane once a year.
But the other interesting bit to note is that there was nothing like noteworthy in the captain's log at all.
Okay.
So like legitimately, like the last captain's log entry was from 10 days beforehand. And
Okay.
like nothing out of the ordinary was mentioned at all.
Interesting.
And so these guys just abandoned ship. And aside from the dismantled parts, the ship looked to be in good working order. It didn't spontaneously combust after someone touched it.
That's good. I guess there's one good thing. The ship didn't spontaneously combust.
And then the last story that I have, the last name that I mentioned at the top here is the Joyita. In the waters of the South Pacific on the 3rd of October in 1955, the merchant vessel Joyita left the island of Samoa with 25 people on board, and then it completely disappeared.
They never found it adrift or anything? It just completely disappeared?
Well, no, I wouldn't be talking about it if it didn't reappear suddenly. So a search party sent out from October 6th to October 12th, but it stopped when they find absolutely no signs of where this vessel could be. And then on November 10th of that same year, the captain of a ship called the Tuvalu finds the Joyita adrift 600 miles away from the route that they were supposed to be on.
Truly
Okay.
adrift.
Yeah, way out there.
Not
Got
just
it.
like fake adrift, it's super adrift. The boat itself was tilting heavily to one side, and it looked to... Jesus Christ. It looked to have suffered a little bit of damage. So it had like shattered windows and parts of the wood were breaking off. They also noted that it had barnacle growth on it, which means that it had been on its side or like tilting the way that it was for a very long time. When they sent someone over to look, the radio had been set to the international distress channel, but no one had ever heard anything come in from them.
Oh, that's weird.
Okay.
The lifeboats were missing, as well as all of the weapons and 4 tons of the ship's cargo. But aside from that, they saw no signs of like pirates or anything like that. So it's
That's
just
weird. Okay.
So
yeah,
they were
it's
just like,
a case of random strangers. Like it's 25 individuals. It was the ship's crew, and it was some passengers. I think it was said 25 in total. I think it was 9 passengers and 16 crew.
and what
Okay.
they were
That
like,
all just
never
went-
recovered.
All went missing. Never heard from. What's
Fucking
interesting
wild.
to me about the Mary Celeste and the Joyita specifically is like the lifeboats are gone.
Yeah.
So you'd have to assume that if there were people on the boats, they would have gotten off on the lifeboat. But then, like, if you don't bring any of your food with you,
How do you you're going to survive on a lifeboat?
how do you
Yeah.
survive? And if you did survive, I mean, like, I didn't go to the extent of, like, looking up the oceanic charts to see, you know, where in the ocean these ships went missing and where
Yeah,
they
but
might
if
have
you
been
said they're
found.
600 miles off course, that's a fuck way away
Oh
from
yeah,
land.
no, that's a long
In the
ways away.
Pacific? Yeah.
Definitely a long way away. But the point I'm trying to make is, like, wouldn't someone have seen I mean, I feel like you would have seen a lifeboat. I mean, I guess
So,
the
my dude,
ocean's a
no.
big place.
I was gonna say,
The ocean's a really big place.
Matt, we've explored more of space than we have of the ocean.
That's
Yeah.
true.
We know fuck all about the
Guys.
spooky blue.
Guys, forget everything that I just said about the ocean. It's my biggest fear. So I'm safe not knowing anything more about the ocean. But yeah, I think it's wild that, like, I mean, I'd almost rather go down with the ship
Yeah.
Oh, then be
than
out to
fucking
sea.
than be out to sea and then
Yeah.
go like sea madness.
Yeah, I mean, like, don't get me wrong. I love the ocean. The ocean's great. It's water. I love water. However, I know that's where the spooky shit
Yeah, I
lives.
don't love water that
And-
much.
The water ghosts. That's where the water ghosts
That's where the
are.
water
That's
ghosts live.
1,000% where they are, dude.
So, like, I would go down with the ship because at least at that point, I know what fate I am beheld. I don't know what's out there. I'm not fucking with that.
Bro, I went to the dentist a little while ago and I was having a conversation about how one of my biggest fears is going on a cruise because of open water and like I'm scared of open water.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm just kind of concerned about the ship going down and me getting attacked by a shark. And she's like, would you rather die by drowning or getting eaten by sharks? And I was just like, drowning, please.
No. Shark
No.
attack
No, I mean,
all
like,
day.
I
okay,
don't want
here's
either.
the thing,
They're
though.
both bad.
They're both, no, ideally, I think I said that too when I was talking to her. I was like, ideally, like, going to sleep and then just not waking up would be great. But, like, I'd be fine with not having my last moments on Earth be me being torn to shreds by a shark.
Yeah.
Because, like, a shark's not like a big cat where it'll fucking snap your neck first and then you're out.
Oh no,
A
a shark will toy with you.
Shark will toy with you. It'll bite your leg and be like, oh, that guy tasted like, you know, rich fatty acids from McDonald's.
Rich,
I see, but I feel like my answer to that question is completely like obfuscated by the fact that
yours
like
is a little biased because you've drowned before.
well, yeah, there's the fact that I've drowned before, so it is a big fear of mine. But then
Yeah.
on top of that, it's also the fact that like you both know very damn well that
Oh, that's
I
right.
do
you
not
have to die
plan.
in battle.
Not even that I have to die in battle, but I do not plan on, nor do I think I will have a peaceful death. So, I mean, going out by shark attack, I'm just as good as whatever the fuck else is lined up for me.
I suppose. But anyways, those are my stories about 3 separate ghost ships. 2 of
Hell
them were true, and 1 of them is thought to be fake. I was surprised, actually, while I was doing research for this, how many ghost ships exist out there.
Yeah.
Oh, you know.
Yeah.
I was like
Ocean's a big
looking it up.
place.
No, the ocean's definitely a big place. That's not the point, Megan. Please stop adding to my fear of the ocean. But,
what I'm saying
like
is,
my point was just like just how strange I guess the phenomenon would be to like be on the ocean and find just like a ship just out there. Especially nowadays, I think it would be so much stranger because like you'd expect the communication to work and you'd expect everything to like be going appropriately.
Yeah, yes, yeah.
And then, like, if something fucks up with that communication and then all those people are just, like, dead on a ship and you find it and you're just like, we'll never know what happened to these people.
I think, like, so I think that it's not easy to lose a ship, right? But
Yeah.
that with the sheer...
But it happens.
No,
but when it does get lost, it gets fucking
it
lost.
gets lost, but like with the sheer number of ships, right, that we have launched throughout history, it's just
Yeah.
bound to kind of happen. But here's another thought too, is like the contrived safety that technology gives us, right? Because like you get on a boat, you get on like this big cargo ship, and you're just like, we have so much technology here, like we couldn't possibly get lost. And then what do when you're
You get
suddenly
lost.
out in the middle of the Pacific and everything just gives out on you?
Yeah.
And then people are kind of like left in this weird situation where they're like, I don't know what
Oh
to
God,
do
I'm
with
dying.
it. Yeah, like, what do I do without all of my, like, bits and doodads? And, like, hopefully there is enough training, because I don't know what it takes to become a big ship captain, or, like,
Yeah.
what it takes to be part of the crew. But, like, hopefully they do sort of, like, teach them...
Level-headedness?
Not level-headedness. Like, what do you do in the event that, like, it's suddenly 1513, and you
Yeah.
have to, like, navigate now?
Also,
Use the stars.
how many days before you start eating the passengers on your cruise ship?
Day one.
I just want to expound on another thing that just this makes me think of. Did you guys know that there are more airplanes in the ocean than there are ships in the sky?
Yes.
Yeah.
We should move on to the next story.
That's a
I
good
was going
one.
to say, we've talked about schmanibalism, which was last year's Halloween hot take. So I'm going to just fucking move on now.
Yeah, buddy.
As many of you know, if you have been a listener to this podcast for a while, or just generally know me as a person, I fucking love Halloween. This is my time to shine.
He
Yeah,
does fucking
it's
love
great.
it.
I fucking love it. It's
Legitimately, he goes cuckoo for these Cocoa Puffs, bro.
Absolutely. I laugh at this a little bit because I grew up afraid of literally everything, and
Dude,
now...
you and me both, sister.
Yeah, but now being scared is a very fun feeling for me. The
It's
human
not
brain is
for
enigma.
me.
Oh no, I love being scared. It's like a fucking
No.
adrenaline high.
I become
I love it.
Usain Bolt when I'm scared. Like, I become the fastest person on this planet.
I'm the fastest man alive.
I become the fastest man alive when I'm scared. Like, if you startle me enough, like, I actually
Whoop.
teleport. Like, I dimension door away from the situation.
But the stories I have tonight, because I do have two of them, lean into my favorite kind of scary.
I guess it's only fair because I had 3.
Yeah, I know, but I only picked 2 because the 2 I found were a little bit short, and I was like, I'm gonna buy some time.
It's also our spooky episode, so we can do whatever the fuck we want.
Yeah,
it's
fuck
also
it.
our podcast. Fuck you.
My stories tonight lean into my favorite kind of scary, which is the plain old creepy. The unsettling, not because it seems impossible, but because it feels just the opposite.
Zach, if you give me nightmares,
Oh, boy howdy.
I'm gonna fight you.
Don't do this to me, Zach.
Do it. My first story tonight, I will be discussing the phantom bird of West Drayton.
Oh, hell yes.
I don't...
Our tale this evening
Where's Drayton?
begins around West Drayton, England. Yes.
Oh, in England. Okay. I was
in
like,
England, yeah.
He's really far away. I don't
where
have to
is
worry
that?
about
Yeah,
that.
I don't care about it
Oh,
anymore,
you thought it was
dude.
Drayton right across. Okay, I'm sorry. That's my bad.
Yeah, I thought it was nearby Drayton. You know,
West
classic.
Drayton. I'm
So,
gonna look it up.
our tale this evening begins around 1749 in a small village of West Drayton, England, which on the timeline of our species in Western civilization falls right during the Enlightenment era. One would think that being more scientific in this era, they would, pass ghost stories as silliness, but these fools were still all about the supernatural. In this small town in England...
baby.
In the small town in England, also English do be spooky bitches, so this tracks.
England, I read a thing the other day that said England is scary because it's old and America is scary because it's big.
That's true.
Yes, that is. I mean, also
And
America is old.
I've never agreed. No, America's not old like England is old, my guy.
No.
America's not old like fucking Japan is old.
Okay, let me rephrase that. The land that America, the United States
you're
occupies
absolutely correct.
is old.
Is-
The Appalachian Mountains have been there before the dinosaurs.
That's
They
true.
were there before the bones.
Before the bones.
But like, I've never agreed with something so much in my life.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. But in this small town of West Drayton, the residents begin hearing screaming and pounding on the door of their local church. So naturally, they think someone is inside and terrified, and it's Jesus, let me out.
Hey, it's me, J-Man. Let me out.
So the residents eventually grew up a party of 4 men and 2 younger boys to go investigate the church. And they don't know where the sound is coming from because they pull open the door of the church and there is no one inside. The sounds stop when they open the door to the church, and they proceed to search the church, and they don't find anything. The only thing that was odd or out of place from normal was the presence of a large raven flying around on the inside of the church.
Oh, Edgar Allan Poe.
Yeah. So this bird goes and pulls the ultimate creepy power move and just flies and sits itself right on the fucking altar and stares at these people.
Oh, hell yeah.
And the group just eventually decides that the best way to deal with it, because it seems like a bad omen, very large bird sitting on an altar, that's kind of creepy. They just beat the bird to death with sticks, because that just seems like the only plausible and smart thing to do.
I just want to say, a lot of the time nowadays, people blame violent acts on video games.
We are violent species.
Hundreds of years ago, people were beating crows to death with sticks.
That for no good reason other than
Just because it had the audacity to live in a church.
And be spooky.
And sit on their altar.
Yeah. In all fairness, they were hearing screaming beforehand, and the only evidence was this raven. I would be like, that's a ghost raven, too.
That's not that raven's fault. It was in the wrong place at the wrong time. You gotta ask questions first before you beat the ravens to death.
You would think that, Megan.
I do think that. I'll stand by that.
No, you won't.
Oh, okay.
So they eventually beat this raven to death with a stick, and as it falls to the ground, it lets out a horrific scream that sends the entire group into shock, and they go to look for the body on the ground, except guess what? There's no body. No raven, it's gone. However, after the initial incident and the killing of this bird, apparently the same bird was seen outside the church and around the graveyard on multiple occasions by multiple people. The town ended up believing that it was the soul of a man who had killed himself earlier in the year that had possessed the bird. You see, in the 18th century, if you committed suicide, you were not allowed to have a proper burial. However, the man's family had secured him a spot in the church's graveyard. Improper burial, yet still entombed in the earth, that's a recipe for ghosts.
That's true.
You got ghosts in your cemetery.
Yeah, you do.
To be fair, that's kind of where they can
That
be
is
there.
where they live.
That's where they belong. Yeah, that's where they live.
That's their living room.
Letters live in a library. Ghosts live in a cemetery.
Yeah.
We've determined this.
The best part about this for me is that I read the story initially and I called bullshit. It sounded like a ghost story that had been passed down in a small town just to scare children. However, there are historical documents that actually cite this incident and this town that have been reprinted again and again. The original printing, one of the first printings of it, was in a book that was printed in 1884, titled Glimpses in the Twilight, being various notes, records, and examples of supernatural by Frederick Lee. Lee, who was a priest for the Church of England and the co-founder of the Order of Corporate Reunion, which was a whole fucking shady underground order trying to unite all the Christian faiths. Not super important, but I'm just trying to show the bona fides when it comes to knowing what's possessed and what isn't.
Okay, fair. Yep.
Also do want to point out that during the 18th century, the occult and the supernatural were not as demonized by the Catholic Church as they are today.
The spiritualists can attest.
Yeah, exactly. So, my first story is of this spooky raven.
Quoth the raven, "Better luck next time, bitch!"
One of my favorite moments in literature is from Neil Gaiman's American Gods.
Yeah.
And there's one point where a raven is leading the main character.
Yeah.
And the raven is speaking to him.
Yeah.
And the main character's like, "Hey, say nevermore." And the raven just goes, fuck you. I'm like, yeah. That's exactly what I wanted.
That sounds so good.
Now, the 18th century England had a lot more to it as far as haunts go than just one raven harassing a small village. And while graveyards seem like the most likely place to see a specter,
They do live there.
they do live there. Where else do they live, though?
The ocean.
That's true. Any body of water.
Also, any body of water, including your sinks.
That, you know what? The drain gets clogged enough. That's a body of water.
It's ghost. Yeah.
It's a ghost.
Well,
It's inhabited by a ghost now.
yeah, exactly. But
sure
no,
that's
houses in
Space
general. Houses in general tend
no.
to be haunted.
That's true.
Yeah.
They do have a penchant for getting their asses haunted. And one such famous house is the Hinton Ampner house. Now, this house had a long list of people who occupied it, and most of them having been from the Stulicki. I'm going to butcher this, so give me a minute.
That's okay.
Stukeli, that's how you pronounce it. The Stukeli family. Now, around the early to mid 18th century, most of the Stukeli folks are all gone, either from not having enough little Stukelis or them being born mostly female and taking their husband's name during marriage. Mm-hmm. And towards the mid to late 18th century, the manor falls into the possession of one Lord Edward Stawell. Less fun name, but whatever.
But easier to pronounce for you.
Yeah. But Lord Stawell marries Mary Stukeli, who is the last of the Stukelis. Well, one of the last of the Stukelis. I digress. But Mary dies. It is a great name. It's all. Mary
He's
dies
just
in
trying to
1740.
say it as much as he can now.
Maybe. So Mary dies in 1740, and Lord Stawell ends up boinking her sister Honoria.
Honoria.
Honoria. There's no D in there, except for Lord Stawell's.
Sorry.
Oh!
Oh! Slid that one under the radar, huh?
Yeah. Anyway, the rumor has it that they were doing dirty deeds while Lord Stawell was still also married to Honoria's sister Mary. And apparently they had a child together, but
Scandalous.
the child disappeared very shortly after it was rumored to be born.
Infant
A lot of other what?
Infant side.
Yeah, well, that was one of the rumors. A lot of other rumors do circle around Lord Stawell, as he was a notoriously nasty man in general. After he died in 1755, the house began to collect a reputation as being a sinister house, having had the former master. People who lived in the area claimed that they would hear weird sounds coming from the abandoned house, and they would see a figure of a man standing in the moonlight on certain nights. Despite this reputation and the fact that everyone in town believed this place was haunted, the house was rented by a Mr. and Mrs. Ricketts in 1764, and they were basically looking for a fixer-upper, ghosts included apparently.
Can I just say that Ricketts is a great last name for, like, horror story protagonist?
I was going to say, Ricketts, great last name, terrible disease.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Is it a great last name? Because it's just like, oh my god, I'm so sorry you have Ricketts. It's like, no, that's just...
No, I am Ricketts.
I am Ricketts.
Yeah, but as Matt pointed out, for a horror story, great last name.
Yeah,
so the couple move in together and into this house, and as soon as they do, shit starts getting weirder. Doors would slam in the middle of the night, and early hours of the morning, stomping footsteps would be heard throughout the house, and all these other weird noises would be going on. Mr. Ricketts believed that the locals had gotten a key to the house and were trying to scare him and his wife off, so he goes and changes all of the locks. Surprise, surprise, that does not help at all. The family does not stay in the house for very long, and it changes hands to a Mr. Lawrence after the Ricketts move out, and after one particularly scary event with the family, where some friends basically try to confront the ghost, and it goes terribly. In 1797, the house is dismantled and pulled down, and quickly after the demolition is started, the workers find a box that is under the floorboards of the first floor. And much to Meghan's point of infanticide, they open the box and it contains a pile of bones and what appears to be a baby's skull.
Classic.
Many speculate that, classic. Everyone thought that it was the skull of Lord Edward Stawell and Honoria. All the years passed. They killed the baby and buried it in their house, and then the house was haunted.
So are they saying that the baby was a ghost?
I don't. Well, the man that was around, a lot of people thought was had the posture of Lord Stawell. So what a lot of people were saying was that it was the sins of the family tied to the house, keeping them bound there.
Got it. Yeah.
That the dead baby was fuck you, you don't get to have an afterlife.
That's
so. Here's my problem with ghosts.
Okay.
It's
a general issue with ghosts. We're getting it out of the way.
I tell this to my mom all the time. And I think ghosts are really inconsiderate because they
definitely don't take into consideration other people's time.
That's my problem. It's not ghost time at 1 a.m. Okay, that's when I'm winding down. My day is over. I want to go to sleep. But ghosts are oh, it's time for me to...
You gotta understand, your day is over, but their day is just beginning.
Okay, but I didn't bother them...
Ghosts are nocturnal animals.
But I didn't bother them when I was outside of the house while they were sleeping. The other thing, too, is, ghosts have no personal space. They'll just show up in the bathroom, in the shower with you. And it's please.
So, here's the thing. I understand that problem.
Yeah, you passed the soap.
But there is a wonderful book. Again, I'm going on literacy tangents. There's a wonderful book called John Dies at the End. And it is one of my favorite books. Spoiler alert, John dies at the end. But in the book, it's a horror comedy book, and it's a work of fiction. But the guy, one of the main characters, starts describing the evil in the world, that the ghosts and goblins and freaky things, and he's basically the reason that they do so much and they are so inconsiderate, I guess, to your point, is all they have is time. To them, there is no start, there is no stop, there's no 9 to 5. There's just time. And they can be as cruel or considerate with it as they would like, because that's all they got.
All right, but I don't know, get a hobby.
Bro, I was just looking at a fucking comic strip earlier today, actually. A guy's he's just hanging out in his kitchen and a ghost comes by and goes boo! And he's bro, I've asked you to stop doing this.
I've asked you to stop.
You have the whole world to explore. Why are you staying here? And then the next picture is the ghost with a little backpack on. It's really cute. I'm going to see if I can find it for you.
Yeah, if you can find that, that's really, really funny. But yeah, so that's my big problem. I think it was because I started thinking about ghost time. Do you know that show on Netflix? It's The Haunting of Bly Manor.
Yeah.
Yeah, the ghosts would just pop up all the time, and she'd be in the bathroom. And I'd be this is inappropriate. The door is closed.
I need some privacy, thank you.
I need some privacy. When I come out of the bathroom, it can be ghost time, but not while I'm in here, all right?
Reggie, my boy.
My boy.
I'm just trying to take a shit. Can you leave me alone for 15 minutes?
15 minutes, Reginald, my good sir.
That's all I'm asking.
I'm not asking for much.
Look, I know you're a ghost and therefore you don't have bowel movements anymore. I'm not a ghost. I need 15 minutes peace to just watch some TikToks and get it out.
Here's the Wi-Fi.
I was watching another thing, or I saw another thing that was maybe it was a YouTube video or something where it was just like the ghost when you read faster than it does. And like it's just this girl who's like sitting at a table and she's reading and she turns the page and then you see the cabinet start opening and closing and she's just like, okay, I'm sorry.
Okay, I'm sorry. I like the one.
I feel like if I was a ghost, that's the worst I would do. Like, I can't pick up a book. You read it to me. And if you go, or let me read it over your shoulder. If it's too fast, I'm gonna get upsetty spaghetti.
So I also did my story about ghosts, Avi.
Yeah,
and
I mean, I think it was pretty clear that we had a theme going into this one.
Yes. So my story doesn't really have a fancy name. It's just called The Affairs of Ghosts.
Okay.
Which we've already described in detail here.
So for those of you who have spoken to me at least once, then you know that I love Taiwan. I started off this with Ghost Month. It's a notable month in Taiwan, obviously. And not to be confused with Thailand, which is in Southeast Asia, because a lot of people think when I say Taiwan, they're just like, oh, yeah, I love Thai food. And I'm like, nope, you're close, but not really. Because Taiwan is an island off the coast of southern China. Anyway, so I lived there for a year, and I fell in love with it, and its people, and I like its ghosts a lot. And because it's spooky season, I figured I would tell you about the old Liu family mansion, or the Minxiong ghost house.
Okay.
Which, like, as far as ghost stories go, it's pretty standard, but there are just, like, kind of ghosts there. So it's one of the most haunted locations in Taiwan, and it's situated in the countryside of Chiayi, which is in the southwest of the country. And if you see this house, because I looked at pictures of it, you'll think that, like, no one living could have ever lived there. Like, it looks like it was a house built for the dead.
Okay.
It's like this 3-story brick building that looks like it is being held together by the arms of, like, a banyan tree. And it at one time was a really lovely home for the Liu family, but at some point in the 1950s, they left it for good.
Okay.
You may be wondering at this point, like, why would a well-off family, like, leave such a beautiful place? Like, they built it for themselves.
It's haunted.
Yeah.
You got ghosts in your house. You should leave about it.
You got ghosts in your house. So the most popular theory as to why the mansion became haunted and caused the family to leave is that the maid and the head of the head of the family had an affair together.
It's always about some guy that can't keep it in his fucking...
Right.
I know, dude. That's why I called it The Affairs of Ghosts.
Oh, shit. Clever title.
Yeah, there we go. Don't make that noise. I thought it was clever.
It is clever.
No, it was good.
So they had an affair, and their affair was discovered by the family, and the maid is said to have committed suicide by throwing herself down the well. A little bit of the twist to the same story has the wife discovering the two of them and making the maid's life so miserable that she felt compelled to end her life. And as you can expect, her spirit came back to haunt the family on a nightly basis, and eventually they couldn't take it anymore. They left the house and left it to the mercy of any wandering souls looking for a place to call home. Now, the ghost hauntings didn't stop with just the family. Another popular story involves the Japanese Imperial Army during World War II. Not World War II. This was during the occupation. I'm sorry. Taiwan.
I was about to say, if you're stepping on my fucking toes, Meghan.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, every time I see the Japanese Imperial Army, I'm just like, oh, World War II. No. This was a little bit after World War II when the army was still stationed in Taiwan, and the soldiers were camping at the mansion. And one night when the mists were high, a soldier on guard saw a moving figure near the perimeter of the grounds, and they were sort of the, shoot first, ask questions later mentality. So they opened fire.
Sounds about right.
Yeah. This woke the rest of the troops, and they also started to wildly shoot. It's good to know that, like, police mentality is pretty much the same. Like, it's never changed. Like, it's always the shoot first, ask question later, and then get, time off on administrative paid leave.
I guess you know what you're getting at least.
You know what you're getting.
It's not great. I don't love it, but you know what you're getting.
Classic police craft, if you will. So, anyway, when the sun rose, all the soldiers were dead, having massacred each other, and so no one could ever say, like, what the moving figure was.
Okay.
Yeah, so there are also accounts of the Taiwanese army using the house as a base, and one night when they were camping there, all of them, or most of them, got sick, and a lot of them died after spending time there. And it led a lot of the locals who heard this story to immediately attribute that to supernatural problems.
Yeah.
Like, why would you stay in an area that has been known to have hauntings and then immediately get sick and then people have died? And today, the mansion, even though it's on privately owned land, the owners don't really seem to mind people visiting who, like, want to be a little bit scared by this. They do recommend that you stay away from the well, though, because if you go near it,
water ghosts?
Yeah, yep, it will give you exceptionally bad water ghost luck to those who venture too close. So,
Okay.
yeah, I thought, like, it's a little bit more of a kitschy ghost story.
No, but at the same time, it almost gives me, like, this feels like the Japanese version, slightly same kind of idea, almost as like the Winchester house.
Yeah, a little bit. Like,
which I can go over the Winchester house in a whole other episode, because it's buck
dude.
wild.
I love the Winchester house. But the other thing that I liked about this, too, is it wasn't like, it didn't feel as sinister as a lot of, like, the other haunted houses that I was looking up that, like, are in America.
I mean, I don't know. The house theoretically or allegedly caused a bunch of people to shoot each other. That seems pretty fucking sinister to me.
Okay. But, like,
however, I know what you mean. It's not, the house isn't directly doing the thing. It's people doing things at the house.
A little bit. Like, I think more what I mean is, when I was looking up haunted houses in America, a lot of them are just like, oh, the murder house, or like,
yeah.
like, oh, this family committed a 5-way suicide.
Lizzie Borden, we're talking to you.
Yeah, or like there was just such a gruesome, just like axe murder, but like in this, it was kind of like more drama filled, where it's like, oh, the wife witnessed an affair, and like the maid committed suicide down the well, and
yeah, like I was gonna say, it's the reason that, like, I know as far as like horror stuff goes, I don't like slasher films because I think that they're boring. I think it's just like, ooh, oh my god, someone's murdering again. But you give me some good psychological thriller, I'm all about that. I eat that shit up.
Yeah,
same kind of deal here.
Yeah, this felt more like a mystery sort of.
Yeah,
I don't know, like graphic novel where
it was creepy and spooky and not outright.
Not gross, I guess.
Gross.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A little bit less murder.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
mean,
mean,
sometimes we need a palate cleanser from all the murder.
Yeah, and like, don't get me wrong, like, obviously, like, the suicide aspect of it isn't great, but I don't know, like, the gruesome, like, horror story murder houses just, I don't know.
Yeah.
They're gross.
They're
no
gross.
Reason.
They're gross for no
Yeah.
reason. And I do like, at least like at the beginning, I like the drama of the sordid affair and like the discovery.
Yeah.
And that leaning into like the local legends, like building up around it.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah. I'll send you guys a picture of the house though, because like it is.
Oh, please do.
It is quite pretty. Yeah, the Minshong haunted. Yeah.
Yeah, well, you're
in the Discord, or
Yeah,
no?
I'm gonna send it to the Discord. Just give me. I was just like finding a good picture of it.
Yeah, go off, sis.
while you're sending things in the Discord, I'll begin to wrap up if that's cool
Yeah, that
with
sounds
you.
good.
Yeah.
That way, I'm not cutting Matt off like I usually do.
Yeah, please don't.
That's the picture.
But okay, we'll look at that and then we'll wrap up.
Oh, it's
yeah.
pretty though.
I know it's like a really pretty house, and you can like kind of tell. Like, yeah,
It used to be something nice.
it used to be something nice, but that's definitely haunted now.
Definitely.
1000% haunted.
If I had to pick one house that was haunted, it would be that house.
Yep, that you're right.
Well, thank you, folks, for listening to our Halloween episode this year. And as always, if you like what you hear, tell a friend. Help us haunt other people. It's what we like to do. Also, give us a follow on our socials. On Twitter, you can find us at triumvirate_pod. On Instagram, you can find us at _triumvirate productions. And also, we have our Patreon, which is patreon.com/triumvirate productions. You can be like our really cool friend Samby, who just became our very first Patreon. So first off, shout out to you. Thank you very
They
much.
just call them patrons.
Patrons?
Yeah.
Yeah. Whatever you want to call them, they're cool people. And you can be one of those cool people too if you sign up on our Patreon. And now that I'm done yammering your ear off, I will turn it over to Matt to give the official goodbye.
What the fuck, history?